Okay, so this morning I'm out doing maintenance. We haven't been on maintenance for this in probably a few years. So replacing the humidifier pad filter's good, but one thing I noticed is that when you start this furnace up, the fan doesn't come on. Any carrier gets a call from the thermostat, and if you get a call from the thermostat for heat, and you turn the power off and turn it back on, it goes to a code 12. That means the fan runs for X amount of minutes, or 90 seconds, 60 seconds before it starts the heating cycle. Watch, it won't do it this time. But I did. Let's see. So technically, fan should be running. I just heard a click. Now this runs DC voltage. So technically, it should be running right now. And my yellow, I think it's a brown. I got 8.8 DC volts. The motor should be running. Let's give her a spin. Nope. So that's blinking a 12 code. 1, 1, 2. Blow around after startup. So I got the DC volts there, but no spinny. Let's see what happens when we fire it up. Let's see, where does that get its volts? Oh, that was just a coincidence. Let's see. Got my manometer on right now. We're gonna check some gas pressure. See if the fan comes on. You got to make sure to check. I should be between 1.3 and 1.7. Hopefully the fan comes on. Did a few times when I was here already, but it's intermittent. See, I'm calling for fan and it's not coming on. Or maybe it's the plug. I just kind of, well, I spun the wheel. jacked around with the plug. We'll check it in a minute. I've had these go bad too. Jump it into high stage, W2 and R. 357. I'm going to lower it down to 3.3. Let's see. I've had these harnesses go bad before. That right there. I had it on one other one last year. Let's see what happens. There, 8.8 DC volts. No fan. So the motor's bad. Should be running right now. It's blinking at 12. Let's see. Let me give her a spin. Spin her backwards. There it goes, it just took off. So something's going on in the motor. So I got voltage from the board to the harness, to the connector, through the connector, and it still wasn't starting. So I'm gonna have to order a motor for this one. So I got my gas pressure set. Got my gas valve shut off. So when I set gas pressure on these furnaces, I technically you should do it on temporize. So you figure out what your temporize is and adjust your gas pressure. But some of the furnaces in our area you know, and sometimes bad practices, oversizing furnaces. I err on the side of caution, which that means lowering the gas pressure, because I know the temp rise is there because it's oversized. So technically you should be setting the gas pressure on temp rise, not just the gas pressure. Anytime you're doing a maintenance on a 90% efficient furnace. So I got the door off? Well, it depends. Most of the units nowadays, where you have this open configuration and not a burner box, make sure you put your door on while it's running to make sure, you know, if you have your door off, obviously it's pulling air from inside, not the venting, so, or the air intake. So make sure you put your door on and run it before you leave. Well, that was kind of unexpected on, let's say, not told, oh yeah, unexpected. That furnace was from 2016, 2017, and believe it or not, just like, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I ran into the same thing, same vintage of furnace, right around there, 16, 17. I don't know what exactly caused that problem, but the last one I was on there with another tech. Just, I don't know what we were doing. I think we were just kind of, I had nothing to do, so I stopped by and helped them. And as we're sitting there talking, turn the furnace off, turn it back on, had a call for heat. We're just BSing back and forth, kind of talking about the job. And I sit down, and all of a sudden the blower comes on. And I'm like, wait a minute. That blower should have been on 30 seconds ago when I turned the switch on. There's no delay. So when it starts blinking a code 12, which is blower on after startup, that fan starts. And usually what you hear is you turn the furnace on, the status light comes on, and then after that you hear the click of the blower relay. Well, I did that this morning, or on this call, to where turn the furnace on, status light comes on, starts blinking at code 12, hear the click of the blower relay, and nothing. So this is the second time in 2 weeks I've ran into this problem on that vintage furnace. So after we got through that, put the door on, and I'm sitting there writing my invoice out, and all of a sudden it goes off on code, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, pressure switch code. And I took my manometer, checked my vacuum on my inducer, and sure enough it was low. So when you're out on maintenance, let that furnace run. Let it just sit there, and as it sits, as it normally sits, let it sit there and run after you make some gas pressure adjustments and so on. Put everything back together, and before you leave and as you're typing up the invoice, let the thing run. Because half the time, you know, and it's happened to me before where I didn't let it run, you know, you forget to turn the switch on. Let the thing run. See what it does. Make sure it runs through the cycle. And you got to sit there and type up your invoice. It takes you 10 minutes to do that. Just sit there. Let it run. So, yeah, this was just like a maintenance call. Just a quick maintenance call. You're finding little problems. So, just on your maintenance call, pay attention. Just don't go in there and vacuum everything out, check all the wires and do whatever. Pay attention to what you're doing, or pay attention to the sequence of operation of that system. Because if you don't, they're going to call you back and say, hey, why is it doing this? You know, when it's 0 degrees outside, or the blower motor decides not to run or not to turn on. You could have got ahead of it at that point if it showed up at that point. You know, there's nothing you can do. But I got lucky. I got lucky that it was doing what it was doing, so now I can get the repairs done and the customer doesn't have to worry about it all winter, which is good. I don't like going back to calls. I don't like callbacks. I don't have callbacks. It's because you gotta pay attention. Pay attention to what you're doing, or what that furnace is doing. But that's it for this one. You guys know what you need to do. Hit up the GoFundMe, the Zelle, the Venmo, the Amazon wish list for my son going through cancer. And like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.